up, everybody? I am Jordan Gerard Coupe, also known as Sporty Jordy, here with my very good friend, Sam Cardona. Sam, who is also known as the girl who talks sports. We got together last year for the 2021 NFL draft, and we took it very seriously. We went all in, made the full round one mock drafts, and then we both vowed that we never in our lives want to endure that pain and suffering ever again.
People who do mock drafts for fun, jail.
No,
Jail
I'm
time.
worried. There's has to be something going on up here because
go call a therapist.
yeah,
it's not healthy.
No, you're like really. It's a toxic way to like release stress because all it did was made me more stressed.
I think I almost shaved my head last year.
Yeah, no, it was like really bad. And then like I put all that effort in, like I considered trades. I was like, this is what this, and then like all of it was wrong. Like legitimate, all of it. It was our teams that started moving around that shifted everything. And I was like, all right, yeah, we're never going down this road ever again.
It was like pick one, Trevor Lawrence. Got it.
Yeah. And then after that, it was like, all right. This year we had to obviously come back to do another video, talk about the 2022 NFL draft. This year we're doing it a little bit differently, because like we said, never doing a mock draft ever again, but there is so much to get into. I want to start off by looking back on last year, just seeing kind of where we're at, because there was a lot of hype around last year's draft. And it's crazy because I don't think it necessarily lived up to all of the hype that it had. Like, I felt like there was obviously people that surprised us and overperformed, but I feel like there was so much talk and it was so flashy and glitzy, and it really didn't end up being like, obviously we had some components, but it didn't end up like over exceeding. And that's why I think this year, no one's really excited for this year. And there aren't, it isn't as glitzy and glamorous. There aren't big names. The quarterback situation is its own frickin' beast.
Yeah.
But I feel like this year is going to be the year where you're going to get a guy that's going to make or break your team and be that long-term solution to take you to that next level.
Yeah. And like, it's always the defensive drafts that not everyone's very excited for. And this is a very defensive draft. So it doesn't have those sexy names that we're looking for, like Joe Burrow and Trevor Lawrence and like those round one, pick one, but I agree with you. I think it's going to be a lot of really great players that come out of this draft. It's kind of reminding me of, I was looking on my time hop recently, and today was the 2017. Today is the 27th. The day.
Thank you for telling me. I had no idea what we were telling her. I legitimately didn't know.
The 2017 draft, which was Myles Garrett, Jamal Adams, like all those guys. And I was like, wow, like I kind of forgot all about this draft. I mean, that was like the Patrick Mahomes draft, like, but nobody was thinking about Patrick Mahomes,
Definitely.
But here he came out, obviously being one of the best quarterbacks in the league. So yeah, it's not sexy, it's not bright and shiny, but it's in Vegas and they're making it work.
They're doing what they can.
This is probably the most unpredictable draft I feel like I've ever seen ever.
Yes. No, and like let's put it in perspective. Usually like you just said, last year we went into the draft and it was like Trevor Lawrence is going to be number one. Anything else can happen after that. This year the Jags are literally sitting there. I saw an article 3 days ago. The Jags are like, we have no idea what we're doing.
Literally not a clue.
And I was like, I made a TikTok today making fun of them. And I was like, them like looking back, like, yeah, we have Trevor Lawrence. And it was like, oh my God, them realizing they have to make a first overall pick for the second year in a row, and they have no idea where they're going. We will get into who we think is going to be going number one overall. But first, from some of the biggest names from last year's draft, maybe not even some of the biggest names, maybe a sleeper, who do you think performed best coming out of last year's draft?
I couldn't pick one. I have like a list in front of me because I was like trying to see like who it actually was. And unfortunately for us who made the case for the Bengals last year to draft an offensive lineman, I mean, Jamar Chase is probably one of the best prospects to come out of last year's draft. Literally helped Joe Burrow get to the Super Bowl, and they would have won. Let's just say, like, right, we're all on the same page, right? Yeah. If Joe Burrow didn't get hurt in that Super Bowl,
Yeah.
would have
Oh,
won, right?
definitely.
Okay.
Definitely.
Glad we're all on the same page there. But Jamar Chase is probably one of the best here, and obviously the most surprising because a lot of people, including the two of us, wanted them to go offensive line, and they didn't do that. And I would say that was like the big name, and then I was looking for more like lower tiered guys who maybe like we were paying attention to, but obviously not as high up in the draft. And Amon-Ra St. Brown was in last year's draft with the Lions, and to be honest, I really think that he did what he needed to do for the
Yes.
Lions, and I think that he's gonna be great, and him and, Asante Samuel Jr., but Chargers all around, love
Love.
them.
Yeah, no, I am still I have video of me sitting there on day 2 of the draft, and on the Dolphins were right before the Eagles, and I was like, "Oh my god, the Dolphins didn't take Asante Samuel Jr., the Eagles got him. We got him."
Laremy Tunsil is the gift that keeps on giving for the Miami Dolphins. And they're not going to take Asante Samuel Jr. here. They're not going to do it. They're not going to do it because he's coming to Philly. He's there! I got my hopes up too high after last night.
And then, not that I hate our pick at all. We got Dickerson there, so it was fine. But I wanted Asante Samuel Jr. so bad. If he's going to go anywhere that isn't Philadelphia, obviously, I love that he's with Justin Herbert on the Chargers, so I'm never going to complain about that. But yeah, no, they did absolutely fantastic. And someone that it pains me to give credit to.
I know what you're going to say.
Micah Parsons.
Yes!
Like, are you freaking kidding me?
He was the other person on my list here, and I was like, I'm going to go with Jamar because I don't want to talk about Micah Parsons.
Well, one, for Jamar, that is just absolutely iconic because, yes, me and you both, I got so much hate from Bengals fans because I sat here and, like, I was being dramatic. All I wanted was the best for the Bengals. Like, this wasn't me attacking the Bengals. I just wanted Joe Burrow to be safe. I wanted to give them the best chance. I was upset that they went receiver. I was. Yes. Everyone knew it. I did not hide it at all. And then we had the situation where right before preseason when Jamar Chase was dropping passes and everyone was like, he's a bust. It's over. The Bengals ruined everything. And then he came out and was like, oh, really? Watch this. We're taking this team to the Super Bowl. So that was absolutely iconic. But yeah, Micah Parsons, I mean, for the Cowboys to have had some of the worst defense we've seen for the last handful of years. And then for him, and obviously it wasn't just him. The Cowboys have a lot of defensive pieces. They're moving in the right direction. I can't believe I'm talking this highly about the Cowboys right now, but
hey, they deserve it.
Unbiased opinion, they're taking the correct steps to build up this defense, and Micah Parsons was a huge part of that. So I wanted to give credit where I thought credit was due. Now, on the complete opposing side of that from last year's draft, who do you think was like the biggest bust?
I feel like I don't know if there was a bust per se, but I feel like it's like a bust, but not a bust. And I have several people on this list, and some of them like, okay. I'm just gonna tell you everyone. I have three people.
Okay, let's hear it.
One of them is Travis Etienne, and it's just because unfortunately he got hurt and we didn't even get to see him play. It's not a bust. He's not a bust.
It was just an unfortunate situation.
Exactly. He not great. Kyle Pitts, again, not a bust, but I think that he's going to go up this year because of the fact that he probably is going to get more targets.
Yes.
But we were like all in.
Oh, I was ready to like and I still am. I believe in him. Yeah. I think like the potential is all there. And like you said, more targets this year. Yeah. We should see the Kyle Pitts that we wanted to see last year.
Right. But again, rookie year, you're still getting into it. Yeah. I wanted more from him and we didn't see that, but I think that that's happening this year. And a touchy subject, Kadarius Toney, not a bust, but kind of a pain in my side right now.
Yes. So for anyone who doesn't know, who can't tell by her background, Sam is a huge Giants fan. So now their first round pick from last year is apparently on the trading block. So,
which is like, and Jordan, I like texted her and I was like, what in the world is going on right now? I just, it's a big old mess. I can't even get, we will be here forever and we have draft to discuss. So again, not a bust, but definitely with everything that's going on with him, a lot more issues than performance on the field.
Definitely. And I do want to bite my tongue. This kind of goes back to the who performed well, but I also want to give Mac Jones some credit. Because my worst, and I owned up to this, my worst take from like the entire NFL season last year, the worst quote I have, is me saying that the Patriots did everything that they could for Cam Newton and Mac Jones wouldn't even see the field. And then literally like 3 days after I said that, Patriots released Cam Newton.
How are you to know that?
I didn't know. And so I sat there and I was like, oh, like Mac Jones is probably good if Bill Belichick's just releasing Cam. And then we saw what Mac Jones did. So I bit my tongue. Mac Jones, you completely won me over. And now hopefully we get another situation like that this year. So moving on, 2022 NFL draft. It officially starts Thursday, April 28th. I don't know if I'm getting this up on Wednesday evening or Thursday morning, so we're keeping it generic for right now.
Got it.
But who do you think is going to be taken number 1 overall? Because, I mean, not that we can know because the Jags still don't know, but if you were to make an educated guess, who would your first overall pick be?
I feel like, so this, again, like we said before, normally we have a first overall pick and we know what's going on. And this year every mock draft is different, it feels like. And just because I looked and I was like seeing what people were saying, there was a lot of Trayvon Walker. And I was like, just because there is so much of this guy, I have a feeling they're not going to pick him. Like, I don't know why. It's just, I was getting that feeling. And plus they just gave Cam Robinson, who is their offensive tackle, an extension. And then in my head, I'm like, okay, so now you've worked with your offensive line. Now let's just go for defensive at this point. So I think, and I'm looking right now and I'm still like going back and forth in my brain. I think it's going to be Aiden Hutchinson out of Michigan.
Okay.
I think that even though he might not be like the best guy in the class, like the Jaguars are going to do the surprise quote unquote pick. Like I feel like they're going to pick somebody that nobody's really, I mean, obviously people are thinking about Aiden Hutchinson, but I'm feeling like they're going to address their defense because they've already given Robinson an extension, pair him up with Josh Allen, defensive Josh Allen, and later on in the draft, they can work on their offensive line a little bit more. But I'm thinking it's going to be defense. And since it's such a defensive draft, you got to go with that kind of guy overall. So I'm going Aiden Hutchinson.
I'm totally here for it. And I totally understand it. I went in the completely opposite direction.
Perfect. Love that.
So I have the Jags selecting Evan Neal first overall. And just because one of their O-linemen just retired after 8 years, they're basically starting at ground zero. They have Trevor Lawrence. If ETN comes out healthy, it's great, but it's not like they're anywhere close to a complete team. And at this point, you have Trevor Lawrence, who's going to be the center focus of everything. I have the mindset, kind of like how I was with the Bengals last year, like just keep building up around him, give him the best chance he can to work with this offense. So I'm going with Evan Neal. For some reason, I mean, Aiden Hutchinson, has also been like toying with all of our emotions because some days he's in Jacksonville. The next night he's at like a Detroit Tigers baseball game. And I'm like, where the frick are you going, dude? Like, so he's like toying every time he posts something. They're like, the Jags are taking him. Then he's in Detroit and they're like, the Lions are taking him. But that's been really fun. The good news for the Jags, though, it's really hard for them to mess up here. Like, unless they go completely rogue, if they take Aiden Hutchinson, it makes sense. If they go Evan Neal, if they go Trevor Walker, like all of these make sense. It's just going to be what they think is best for them in the moment. I have a feeling they're going to get there and still not know 100% what they're doing.
Yeah, no, of course. And I feel like that's with everyone in this draft for the most part. But literally, like you said, if they just get literally anyone other than like Kenny Pickett, you're good.
You're doing fine. I mean, don't go receiver. Don't take Drake London at number 1.
No, there are so much better receivers.
There's so much better. Stick to the basics. Stick to the O-line. Stick to the D-line. Just keep it basic. Don't go flashy.
Draft. It's a big guy draft. You cannot go wrong with any of the big guys in this draft.
Yes, literally 100%. So now with me, I mean, and like I said, I did not do a mock draft, but I did like a fake mock draft, like leading up to surrounding the Eagles pick at 15.
Yeah.
So with me thinking the Jags will take Evan Neal at number 1, I have the Lions getting Aiden Hutchinson at number 2. The Texans, I have them. There's a lot of talk about them going for a cornerback. Which cornerback, I don't know, but I think that changes the trajectory of everything, because now you still have top guys that could easily go number 1 overall still available at number 4.
Yeah.
Your Giants are selecting, you guys have number 5 and number 7, correct?
Yeah.
So what do you want leading up to that number 5 and number 7 pick? What do you think the Giants should do? And at this point, would you be upset with them trading back and giving up one of those picks?
So in my brain, we're picking at number 5 and we're trading back at 7.
That makes sense.
I'm okay with that, just because we weren't even supposed to have 7 to begin with. Like 7 is from the Bears. So that the fact that the Bears were almost equally as bad as us and we were so close in the, in choosing, it makes a lot of sense, especially if like you're like, I know that the other guys we want, they're not going to go in this round. Like we can trade back for that. And it's such a valuable like place. You're in the top 10, and just the fact that you are just 2 steps ahead, it makes so much sense. And I have a lot of hope for the draft this year, because Dave Gettleman is not our GM anymore. We have Joe Shane, the man from Buffalo, has come down to be our saving grace. And I'm not at all opposed to trading back. I think 7 is the better pick to trade back. I feel like we should keep number 5. But yeah, I'm totally okay with that. And in my brain, Evan Neal drops to us.
That would be, as an Eagles
like,
fan, that would be scary.
I feel like, yes, he is this incredible human being and like probably one of the leanest linemen I've ever seen in my life. Like he is so fit. It's insane. Like his body mass to his like physical appearance, it's crazy. But so I'm feeling like Evan Neal is going to drop just a little, just because people are going to be going defensive first, and some of the people above us don't need defense. So that's my thought. But if he isn't there and he does go first overall, I'd be okay with like Ike Ekwonu getting into the mix. But I do think that it's offensive line the Giants need so bad. Like, please, for the love of God, draft an offensive lineman. And then at 7, if you want to trade back, I'm okay with that. But if you don't, I'm okay with grabbing an edge, or something along those lines. Sauce Gardner has been in a lot of
back off. I need him.
Hey, listen, you took Devonta Smith from us last year. You are not allowed to take this from us this year. I will not allow it.
Imagine if the Eagles, you know how Eagles and Cowboys traded last year? Eagles have 2 first rounds. Imagine if we give you our 18. I don't even know if it would work like that. But there is talk about Eagles trading up to get Sauce Gardner. So imagine, I'm not gonna like, that's not gonna like make or break me. Yeah,
I'm not gonna feel like totally terrible. But yeah, so definitely keep 5, get an offensive lineman, and if you're going to trade back 7.
Makes sense. I can fully support that.
Yeah.
So now leading up to we've had first overall, we've kind of done the in between, we've gotten to the Giants. Where do you think the first quarterback will be taken off the board? Because this is not a quarterback year. Like, this is not the year to go and get your guy.
I'm very excited about this.
Okay.
Honestly, I have 2 predictions.
Okay.
And it has to do with the Panthers. First of all, yes, the Panthers.
Yes.
If the Panthers do not trade back, as they are talking about, it's like Panthers, Giants, it's all about trading back. if the Panthers do not trade back and they stay at 6, they're drafting Kenny Pickett.
100,000,000% I agree with you.
It's the chemistry between Matt Rule and Kenny Pickett is like sparks. I don't know how, I don't know what. And it's just the Panthers in general are kind of a dumpster fire. And part of the reason is because they have Ben McAdoo on their staff, but we don't need to delve too far into that, man, because I have my thoughts. But that I'm feeling like if the Panthers don't trade back, they will be taking Kenny Pickett at 6. But if they do, I think that it's going to drop very, very low. And I think the first person off the board is Malik Willis at 20 to the Steelers.
Yes. No, everyone's talking about Steelers need to trade up. Steelers need to trade up. And
they don't have to.
They don't. Nobody in between. I genuinely believe. The Eagles make me freaking nervous. Who knows? But I genuinely, with everything they've said, you never know. We're a quarterback factory, but with everything they've done and everything they've said, I really don't think it's on their mind right now. They've kind of set themselves up to focus on getting the basics this year. They set us up great for next year. Now we have 2 first rounds next year too. For if Jalen Hurts doesn't perform well, then we're in good shape for that, whether we make a trade or use our picks in the draft, whatever we end up doing. But no, the Steelers are at a very good spot to kind of just stay calm, sit back, and let Malik Willis fall right into their lap. And I saw a lot of conversations. Well, what happens if for some reason, which isn't even that crazy out of the question to me, if Kenny Pickett and Malik Willis are both still available for the Steelers?
Yeah.
Still go Malik Willis.
Oh, 100%.
Do not go down that road. Like, Malik Willis is your guy. Get him.
It just fits better with the Steelers. I feel like Malik Willis will just fit better within that organization. And like I said, Kenny Pickett, I would not be surprised if somehow the Panthers trade down and still get Kenny Pickett.
100%.
It's
in
so
my
possible.
mind, Kenny Pickett is the Panthers quarterback.
Yeah.
And I've seen a lot of talk of, well, no, the Lions are going to take a quarterback. The Lions aren't sold on Jared Goff. And I'm like, no, the Lions are not going to take a quarterback, at least at number 2.
Right.
I could see it. We have to remember, they also have the 32nd overall pick.
Right.
So at the end of the first round, if they feel like they need to, they could probably get Matt Corral there, because I don't see anyone. I realistically think
Matt Corral.
I know. So if they're sitting there and Matt Corral's still available, like, the Lions may just take him just to take him. But realistically, the Lions at 2 are not going quarterback. I can't see any teams trading up to take any of these guys unless you get into a situation where someone random takes Kenny Pickett too early, and then the Steelers panic and then they trade up to get Malik Willis, who is their guy. So I feel like it's not going to be that chaotic. Max quarterbacks I see in the first round is 3, and that's if the Lions pull the trigger at 32.
Yeah, and they could be like Lamar Jackson got drafted at 32 by the Ravens. It got to the point where we were like, oh my God, Lamar Jackson might drop to the second round, which is like at the time was such a crazy thing to think about. Why not draft a quarterback at 32, especially if you've already got your second pick up there? It makes so much sense. But
exactly.
But you're completely right. I feel like 4 quarterbacks in the first round is like too much.
Way too. I've looked at the draft order so many times, and I'm like, none of these guys are going quarterback.
They don't need it.
No.
It just doesn't make any sense.
One, I also want to talk about the Falcons. Why is everyone hating on the fact at Marcus Mariota as a starter?
Mariota was a 2nd overall pick, was he not?
And every time he came out granted, it's not a big scale. We can't judge everything based off of a couple plays here and there, but I liked what I saw. And especially with where the Falcons are at, I don't want to say they're in a rebuild because they still have pieces. It's not like they're totally at ground zero, but they are in this in-between era of, where are we going to go? I think use Marcus Mariota as your starting point. See how he does. Who knows? Maybe he can be your guy for the next couple years, and then you build. But stop stressing on this. Isn't the year for the Falcons to panic and take a quarterback? It's just not. Unless you're going to do it way later. It's not. Don't waste a pick on that right now. Everyone forgets the importance of like focusing on the fundamentals and just building up your lines, building up your defense, getting these like top tier guys that are like once every couple of year kind of guys.
Yeah, definitely. And Marcus Mariota has found himself, I think, a bit as the Raiders backup. Like he knows now like he can run a little bit more and like he's like learning how to be a quarterback within this league. And yeah, like rookie quarterbacks, they're gonna have a hard time getting into the league. It's just how it works. They're not gonna come out and be freaking superstars like right off the bat. So I can see Marcus Mariota doing well. And even if Ryan Tannehill never showed up in Tennessee, like who knows? Maybe Marcus Mariota would have been the Tennessee starter till this day. We don't know that.
Yeah. Oh my God, that's like a parallel what if kind of universe.
In that universe, there was like the COVID-19 virus doesn't exist. Some like random person's the president. It's like a totally completely different universe.
We can only wonder. We will never know.
Nope.
So now we've kind of already gotten into this a little bit, but do you think there are any teams now, not even quarterback geared, but do you think there are any teams that should try and trade up to get a specific piece?
If anyone is listening, Green Bay Packers, trade up for a receiver for the love of all things holy. Okay, as far as I'm concerned, there are 5 receivers in this draft that are going to be stars. That's Garrett Wilson, Jameson Williams, Drake London, Treylon Burks, Chris Olave. Those are the 5.
It's a good receiver class.
To be there at where are they at? Like 24?
Yeah, they're late.
They're not going to be there. Including the Chiefs as well. I'll throw the Chiefs into this as well. The Chiefs are at like 29.
Yeah.
You guys need receivers. They will not be there in that lower half. You need to trade up for a receiver. Whoever you trade up with, I don't know. Are you going to trade up with the Giants to 7? I don't know. People are talking about the Texans now trading down their 3rd pick. Like anything can happen.
Mm-hmm.
But God, the Packers, and I feel like they're not going to do it. They're not going to do it. They're very good at just like taking the best man available.
I wonder if there's a world where the Bengals trade up to get one of these top O linemen. I mean, they made trades. It's not like they've done nothing. Like they've started, but it could happen.
I could see that.
This is also us getting excited. We also have to remember there's so much depth in this draft. Like there are guys in the 4th round this year could be guys that end up being stars and being these fundamental guys. Like it's that kind of year.
Yeah.
So we can make the argument 100% of these teams should be drafting up to get some of the top guys. But then we also have to remember if they stay calm and let certain people fall into their lap, it could work out just as well because that's just the kind of year it is.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I said, this is a big guy draft. There's literally I don't think there's any bad prospects for guys that weigh over 300 pounds. Like it just doesn't exist in this draft. So I could definitely see the Bengals wanting to trade up, especially after the fact that they didn't draft one last year.
Yeah.
But also I feel like they again, there's no one that you can like go wrong with necessarily. But there's things like quarterbacks which are slim but not that great, receivers that are slim that are great, that are going to start going fairly early than I think people are expecting them to.
Once it's literally going to be like the domino effect. Once one receiver is taken off the board, it is going to be like bing, bang, like immediately one after the other because everyone's going to get that panic. Oh my God, one's already gone. We need to make sure we get one of these top 5 guys, and they're just going to be like, poof.
Yep. So that's my thought is that Packers need a wide receiver. I just don't know if they're going to do it because they're like that. They draft Jordan Love in the 2nd round, like why?
I mean, last year they could have gotten a great receiver. Did they get him? No, they sat back and they're like, no, we're fine. And Aaron Rodgers is sitting there like, why are you doing this to me?
Aaron Rodgers not even knowing Devontae will be gone in the next year.
No. I'm like very nervous for the Packers this season.
I know. And it's like a go hard or go home year again for the 2nd year in a row. Like,
I mean, I fully believe last year was their year to win the Super Bowl. and they clearly didn't. They got
we were
knocked
both
out.
Like, this is it.
Yeah. No, like I was like, this is the Packers' year. And the fact that they couldn't do it last year and now you lost Devontae Adams to the Raiders. It's getting slim pickings over there in Green Bay.
Indeed.
All right. So now towards the end, we'll have a little bit of fun. There are always historically our teams have not been very good at drafting.
They're so bad.
Yeah, they're so bad. Last year, I said this year, you heard me say if Howie drafts well again this year, he's earned my respect. Like I can't, because last year I really had nothing to be mad about. But in the years prior, definitely reasons to be upset. And
Justin Jefferson. Yeah. Sorry, I had a tickle in my throat.
Yeah, that's fine. Just stab me in the chest real quick. I will never get over that moment. That also, that draft just took like so many years off my life. Years, like eons. Like I will like literally be deceased before I retire because of the 2020 draft. One, CeeDee Lamb going to the Cowboys. I almost lost it right then and there. The Eagles skipping over Justin Jefferson to take Jalen Reagor. I mean, and this one is worked out, but us selecting Jalen Hurts in round 2, I think I was silent for the longest I've ever been quiet in my entire life.
I remember texting you and you like weren't answering me back, and I was like, oh my God, she's gone. We've lost her.
But yeah, no. So now there's always historic teams that draft very well and teams that do very bad. Coming into this year, which teams cannot mess up? Like they need to secure a certain piece who cannot mess this up. And then on the other hand, who absolutely will mess it up because they just will.
Okay, I feel like, and I don't want you to take it the wrong way, but I feel like the only team in this draft that can mess up is the Eagles. Like, and I don't even mean that like in a way to like stab you in the heart. I was literally looking at this draft and I was like, there are so many things that could go right, but like it feels like the only ones that could like in my brain, I'm like, okay, the Eagles take Drake London over like Chris Olave at theirs, and I'm like, why would you do that? You know, like I feel like it wouldn't be terrible, but
yeah,
there's definitely things that could be better. And in terms of ones who can't mess up, I feel like this is a very New York draft, and I'm not just talking about the Giants, I'm talking about the Jets too. Like the Jets really need to figure it out, and if the day comes and the Jets like trade for Deebo Samuel and like just the world just goes up in flames, like just absolutely insane.
I'll be so mad if the Jets get Deebo Samuel.
It's like, but they this is things they need, and
it is. No, I respect it for them, but like, come on.
Yeah, no, and I feel like Deebo is probably, you know, scouring. He's looking, he's trying to figure it out. But in terms of people who can't mess it up, I'm going New York in general, Jets and Giants, plus Joe Shane and Brian Dable, both new guys, but like on a different team. Like they need to prove themselves to our organization in a way. And then the Jets just need to like be better.
Yeah.
And they can mess it up, but there also is things that they can do to not mess it up.
Yes. So I think the most obvious answer here too is if Malik Willis is available and the Steelers go in a different direction, I think that's a huge blow.
That would, definitely. Especially
and that isn't even a knock on Mitch Trubisky. Like I just think long term for the Steelers, even if Malik Willis doesn't hit the field this year, I still think that's someone that should be on their roster.
Agreed. Yeah, the Steelers could do it, like because they really don't need anything else. Like they're pretty set everywhere else. Defense wise, they have one of the best defenses. Offensive line wise, great, pretty much. Like they're not terrible. Obviously they have receiver, they have their running back. It's really their quarterback that they're trying to figure out. And Mitch isn't a bad person to have on your roster, but he's not
honestly rooting for Mitch. I want to see more if it was Mitch or if it was Matt Nagy.
Yeah.
That was the problem in Chicago.
Yeah, 100%. I want to see Mitch Trubisky succeed, honestly. Yes. I want him to do well.
Yes, but as much as I made fun of, like, I feel guilty for making fun of him, but, like, when Justin Fields got in there, who I'm a huge fan of, and Matt Nagy still couldn't figure out how to work him, I'm like, all right, you've had 6 quarterbacks come through this system. Mitch was the only one to get you to the postseason, and he did it twice. And you can't figure out a way to make. I was like, at this point, it's not the quarterback's fault. Like, at this point, it's the coach's problem. So now Matt Nagy's gone. Justin Fields can get a fresh chance there. And now Mitch Trubisky gets another chance to be a starter. So I'm rooting for him. But still.
I want him to do well. Do I see him to be the future of the Steelers? No. Not really. Unless he like completely just balls out this year somehow. But I agree with you. Malik Willis should be a Pittsburgh Steeler at 20.
Yeah, no, I agree. Well, it's going to be a very long weekend. Make sure to follow the both of us on all our social medias. You can find me Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, all at the Sporty Jordy. Sam, plug yourself wherever everyone can find you.
Yeah, I am on, currently I haven't been too active on Instagram, but I am on Instagram at The Girl Who Talks Sports. I have been more active on TikTok, which is also at The Girl Who Talks Sports, and Twitter as well I'm more active on, which is TGWTS Podcast. So you guys can follow me all there.
Beautiful. And then we're in store for a very long weekend. Hopefully it's dramatic. It's exciting. And then I will be back next week to go over all of it with you guys and see what the heck went down. Again, make sure to like and subscribe to my YouTube channel here. Follow us both everywhere, and I will see you guys next week. Bye.